If we look at who is most likely to be impacted by homicide by age, sex, and race, what you see here is Black females, Black males, white females, and white males by age. And the orange line is Black males, and that's our unfortunate reality, is that the figure sort of speaks for itself. By and large, way over other groups, Black men disproportionately experience homicides, particularly again in that 15 to 34 age bracket, and especially in recent years, 15 to 17 and 18 to 24. So those two groups disproportionately. To say this another way, there's only 6% of the county that's Black men, and a given year they make up 70% of the victims. That is a startling disparity when we talk about racial disparities. I also want to quickly focus on demographics of those who commit homicide. Remember when I said very briefly at the beginning that there's risk factors that lead to this, and one of those preceding risk factors is structural racism? You need to think of structural racism when I talk about these findings, otherwise you get real biased in interpreting these results, right? So with that being said, I'll quickly look at age. So this is again looking at homicide or gun charges in the county by age compared to their share of the county population. And we can see here again, there's disparities for people aged 15 to 34, but the biggest disparity, again, like victims, is 18 to 24. So 18 to 24 is the primary group. They're almost 50% of the people that are engaging in violence. If we look at the race and sex of those involved, again, interpret this through the guise of structural racism and classism. About 70% of those involved in gun violence as a shooter are Black men, and then about 20% are white men. And we sometimes see female shooters, but it's pretty rare across the board. So I'm going to finish up just with a few more slides around where violence occurs and a quick summary of the Community Violence Prevention Initiative. So this is homicide hotspots in the county over the past few years. The way a homicide heat map works is that the bright yellow and the dark red are the deepest concentrations. If you see sort of a light blue, it means there was just a one-off shooting there, basically. But if we look at this chart, or not chart, the map, within the sort of city limits under the black, you can see the homicide concentration. So in the city, it's the upper eastern neighborhoods, chiefly Homewood, East Hills, Lincoln, Leamington, and Larimer. The Hill District, specifically Bedford Dwellings and Middle Hill. On Pittsburgh's north side, it's the upper north side, so think Spring Hill, City View, Perry Hilltop, Marshall Shadeland in recent years, the eastern side of Deutschtown. In the South Hilltop, it is primarily Mount Oliver Borough, and then surrounding city neighborhoods like Belsuver, Carrick, Allentown. And then in the West End, it's really just Sheridan, occasionally Elliott. Outside the city of Pittsburgh, since we've seen such a suburbanization of gun violence in recent years, particularly McKees Rocks, Stowe Township. To the east, the western neighborhoods of Penn Hills and the eastern neighborhoods of Wilkinsburg, although those neighborhoods have seen steep declines as well in recent years. And then all throughout the Monongahela River Valley. So in the upper Mon Valley, think Braddock, Rankin, East Pittsburgh, North Braddock, and then all down through the lower Mon Valley, like Homestead, Duquesne, McKeesport, Clarendon. So if you're wondering if that changes a lot over time, not really, unfortunately. If the risk factors remain, then we see persistence. And so if you look on the left, that's 2019 through 2021 as a homicide heat map, and then the heat map we just went through. And you do see some changes in magnitude across those two different maps, but shootings tend to concentrate in the same places over time. And then lastly, if we look at a recent look from the shooting reviews, I'm going to speak in a second about a ton of the collaboration the city of Pittsburgh and the county do together, which is substantial. One of those things is that every week we have leads from every intervention team in the county, city, and cure teams and others that come together to review shootings so we can make sure that we understand what's going on and effectively respond to prevent retaliation. So here's some learnings we have from that. They're informative. So 72% of our shootings are categorized as community violence over about the past year. So again, that lines up roughly with national estimates. For cases where we knew the cause, the three most common causes are altercation or argument. So someone fights and someone gets shot if there's a gun, retaliation, and then robbery. You can see the sort of rates below. It's important to note that for altercation and retaliation and even robbery, most of these acts were impulsive. So what that means is that something happened in the moment among a high-risk individual, they had a gun on them, and then somebody used it. And so if acts are impulsive, if you have someone there to step in, or that person learns to engage their thinking in a way that they stop the behavior themselves, you can deeply prevent violence. And that's a lot of what our programs do, is interrupt that cycle. And that wouldn't work if violence wasn't as impulsive as it actually is. It's not premeditated often. So the main takeaway, I'm not going to read all that for the sake of time, but given gun violence concentration, the takeaway here is that we have to be focused on the high-risk people and places and make sure we interrupt those cycles. But we tend to see this again among a really small percentage of younger men that are exposed to extraordinary risk in our highest need communities. So what I'll end on here briefly is the Allegheny County Community Violence Reduction Initiative and our partnerships, and you're going to hear a lot more from them on the panel. So I'll be brief, but this is at least a $50 million commitment over the next 5 years. We're in about year, I think, going into year 3 now. In community-based public health approaches to community violence reduction within and across highly impacted communities. And the only thing I'll really say is that, again, what we primarily do is focus on intervention teams that engage those at highest risk to interrupt cycles of violence, and prevention programs that try to get to at-risk youth before they become those high-risk adults. That's a lot of the programming we do, and we could not do that without our partners at the City of Pittsburgh, and again, the partners we have throughout the county, including the county health department. So this is truly a all hands on deck. If anyone says that these partners do not work together, trust me, they do. We actually just spent an entire day in a training together on non-clinical CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So deeply appreciate our partnerships, and I'm going to shut up. But yeah, thank you.
Nick, thank you for helping us see the bigger picture. We know that this data represents not just statistics. These are people, these are communities, these are families forever impacted. So I want to quickly say the thing that I was able to recognize our elected officials, and I'm proud to have done that, but we have so many other elected officials that were not able to make it here today. Miss Representative Powell, I do see her, come on in. I wanted to recognize and acknowledge those that had replied to my request, my invitation to join us this evening. I'm so glad to see you. Thank you. Representative Bennett was here and Senator Costa. But it's our job, it's all of our jobs to make sure that you're hearing from us, that you're hearing from our community violence intervention programs, from our community programs, that we are invested in finding solutions, working towards solutions, and finding means of funding these solutions. So thank you again. Let's talk with your peers and make sure that they are welcome to these conversations and they understand the importance of showing up. If they're not able to be here, it's all right. We'll go to them and we'll have these conversations in their own district. So at this time, to have these greater conversations, I'd like to introduce my friend Lee Davis, the Executive Director of Cure Violence Vibe. Lee and I are going to have a discussion with some of our lead panelists about specifically what we can do in our communities, what this violence prevention looks like in all of our communities, how we continue working together, and what are the needs, what are the issues. We want to hear from everyone. So Lee, I'm going to ask you to come on up here and take the mic. And I'm also going to, before I hand this over to Lee, just invite all of our panelists up. Brianna Graham, I saw you in here. Yes, ma'am, right behind the pole, perfect. So Brianna is our program manager with Cure Violence East. She brings both passion and precision to her work in building safer streets on Pittsburgh's east side. Dr. Andrew Johnson steps up. He is the Executive Director of Youth Guidance Greater Pittsburgh, and he leads the BAM program, Becoming a Man. This program focuses on mentorship, trauma healing, and healthy masculinity. Rick Jackson is a program supervisor for Stowe Rocks ACTS. Rick is a trusted leader working in one of our most resilient yet under-resourced communities. Thanks, Rick. And Mr. Larry Harris, program supervisor for the South Pittsburgh Coalition for Peace, for the South Pittsburgh Peacemakers. Larry's leadership with Cure South continues to create pathways out of violence for young people in crisis. I don't think that Kyrie was well enough to come and join us this evening. Thanks, Quentin. Thanks for being here. Would you like to join? It's always good to be put right on the spot. You always have something to say. No, we'd really appreciate your representation of the Neighborhood Resilience Project. So thank you all for being available. Thank you for being present and participating in this conversation. Lee, please.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Thank you, Beth. Ceasefire. Center for Victims, Coach Cal, my big brother. Love you. Appreciate you. You know, a lot of times we don't get to acknowledge our brothers and sisters in public the way we should, but I acknowledge you today and everybody that's on the panel that's putting the work and everybody in the room. One thing I want to start out with is some history. It's nice to know how some of us got here. Been doing this work probably over 25 years now. We started how we got here as far as CURE. I got to bring that up, CURE Violence. Senator Costa, I don't know if he's still here. Okay, he was one of the biggest supporters of our coalition when we first started the coalition in the Mon Valley. And this is going to show you how investment works and how it's very important. He was one of the first ones to invest in our coalition and in the mission that we had as far as violence prevention. Out of that coalition, we created, or we went and got the model from CURE Violence to bring to the city of Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania. We was the first to bring it. And so, right.
Yes.
So that's how I know who put the work in when we first got to Wilkinsburg and opened the first office. Godfrey and Jalal, can y'all please stand up? These two brothers was the first two to start CURE with myself. And that investment allowed a lot of y'all to get a job in here, honestly. And so we take that very serious, and we always talk about protecting the brand. So when you out there doing this work, it's one for all and all for one. And then our good brothers over in Reach, you know, with Swan doing his work since day one, been in the trenches. And I can go down the line with everybody that's probably in here doing this work. And me and my brother Slick been doing this for a long time together, next side by side. So I appreciate everybody sticking and staying. Another point I want to make, when Austin said that he was in the trenches with me in the 10th grade, that was the first time he had ever seen anything or did anything around gun violence. So that proves that investment in that young brother, or the investment in myself to do this work, because I think back in the day, Tally, you was with us, we was making like $7 an hour, and we didn't even care about the money. We was just out here doing the work. But to that point, that investment in a young lieutenant governor, you don't know where that seed is going to go when you plant that seed, right? So with that being said, we're going to get into this panel. And so that y'all know, because we got, and I don't want to leave this out, because Nick made a point of how we're all working together, and that's very important, the investment that was made in that. And so now we're starting these coalitions all over the county and in different counties as well. When I say different counties, I say Beaver County, because Aliquippa is starting, and I think Penn Hill's got a coalition now. But Sister Kathy, who's one of the co-founders, how many people do we have in our coalition for the Mon Valleys? And that's 400 people and organizations. So we started out with 3.
Nice work.
So according to her, I haven't missed a meeting in 8 years. So that's consistency, right? And most of you guys in here have been consistent with the work you've been doing. And I know these questions, I mean, there's gonna be some 2-parters in there, but y'all answer them how y'all want to answer them, from the heart. Whatever y'all feel, whatever, the spirit moves you, go ahead and move with it. And it's only 3 questions, but they're really deep questions. And I'm gonna start with number 1, and I'm gonna pass the mic because we only got 1 mic and pick up the sound. I'm gonna pass it down. If you don't want to answer the question, if you don't have nothing to say, then just pass it back. First question. What are the most urgent, underfunded aspects of gun violence prevention that policymakers or donors often overlook?
So, in my opinion, we've been having issues as far as boots on the ground. We're dealing with 8 different neighborhoods. We have 4 violence interrupters and 1 outreach worker to deal with all these people. So I will commend the brothers who've been doing it, because they've been doing an awesome job. They're working out of Carrick High School, reduced all egregious acts by 50%, which is unheard of. They've been doing their due diligence, with that, working with Bam, of course, his brother right here. And as you said, it's a conscious effort that it's interdependent. Everybody has to join in, right? A lot of people don't understand because it doesn't affect them personally, and they kind of turn a blind eye to that. But that's just, where silence is violence, right? If we're not all taking part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So I take pride in, I live in the area, right? So it's never over for me. Even when I'm out, people are like, Larry, I need your help, I need your help. I can't help everybody, but I try to do my best to do so. So I definitely say boots on the ground for us.
Anybody else want to answer that?
Nothing new here. I'm just doubling down on exactly what was just said. Investment in people, right? That's the biggest thing. When the programs are great, but who's going to be running those programs? A program in essence is on a piece of paper. It's in a book. It's online. It's in a folder, right? But the implementation of that and having the right people at the table. And one thing that I think about too with an investment, it's not just where we're at right now, but where we're going to, right? Increasing the number of outreach workers, increasing the number of individuals that are actually able to do the work, and giving those that are doing the work the opportunity to continue to grow within their profession, right? And not putting a glass ceiling on them, not putting a ceiling in the way that's going to say, hey, you can only get to here, but providing strategic pathways for individuals to continue to grow, that can see themselves as an outreach worker one day and maybe a supervisor another day, and maybe one day starting their own organization or leveling up to the level of an executive director or even beyond. And so I think it's not just the investment in the people, but also our training. Right? What are we learning? What are we doing? What are the most relevant things to be able to do, and capturing in a bottle what's already existing here in the region, and really starting to leverage those pieces and working with community organizations that are doing that work and leveling them up for them to have an opportunity to become trainers, right? Train the trainers. And we keep moving forward. I love what we're doing right now with Roca and being able to put in some CBT, right? How do we make sure that can touch upon everybody? Right? Touch every organization that's out here doing that work and every individual. So people first and people always.
I think the only thing I want to add is absolutely we need more boots on the ground, but we also have to be able to take care of them, be able to pay salaries that allow them to be able to support their families and not work two jobs, but also to be able to provide mental health. And so that the boots on the ground, even though we have more of them, that they can take a vacation, an actual vacation, be with their families, be at home, because as we know, the cases right now don't stop, but they don't stop, right? And so we have to take care of their mental health as well.
As a QB, I would also say miscellaneous dollars are really important because we see that there are a lot of emergencies that happen within the people that we are serving. So for example, that could be relocation support that is like quick and immediate and it needs to happen fast. And we have to shuffle around to figure that out. Or rental assistance is another one that we see. So these sort of miscellaneous dollars would definitely be really helpful with making sure our program is more successful, but also that we're able to follow up on our word and make sure that our credibility stays solid.
Well, I'll piggyback off of kind of like everything everybody said. For me, it's just, I am boots on the ground. I've been boots on the ground since 1995. So I've been doing this thing a long time, and funding and support and just us, like he said, us doing the work, because we'll do the work regardless, but we want to get paid too. So that's like a big deal for people that y'all don't see every day, that I see every day because I walk the streets. When I walk the streets and we deal with certain things, like as far as we might run into somebody who don't want to talk to us. We got to deal with all of those things. So there's things that you guys don't see that we see every single day that we need help with. And it will do everything in this thing for us. It's just for y'all to take care of us. It's the boots on the ground. We first come, first serve. We walk it, we talk it, we sing it, we live it every single day. And it ain't no Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It's Saturday, Sunday, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. This is the calls we get, and then we got to react. So now we hindering our families, because now if you marry, for instance, my brother Chris, not to point you out, but if you marry, you get a call at 3 in the morning. What your wife gonna say? You got to get up though, because that's your job. So those are the things that we see that everybody don't see. That's important to us.
just want to add one more thing for some of the policymakers in the room. As former law enforcement, I know we used to talk about you can't just be the Band-Aid. You need to have people who are having these conversations in the community, who are actually part of the community, who can show them what transformation looks like. You have to take care of these people because if they're not having those conversations, they're not being had. We have to take care of them. We have to add to their numbers. We have to be able to allow them to be able to be human still, not just robots, not just people we utilize, and have them staying in that trauma and continuing that on. If they don't exist, there's no transformation. I promise you that.
Thanks for that. Great answers. Sister Cindy, Brother Leon, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all, the work that y'all doing and support y'all giving across, not just the county, but the world, you know, and your message is so needed. And probably you were ahead of your time with your message, brother. And so now we're catching up to you. And we appreciate you and the work you've been doing, man. So I didn't want to leave that out of this space because everybody needs to know about you too and the work y'all doing. Thank you.
Y'all mentor me, though. I'm like, y'all Rita, Grace, and all these, y'all mentored me over the years, man. And it's just been a privilege for me to be one of the young people who was receptive to the words y'all gave us, like just years ago, man. And y'all watched me, y'all raised me, so I appreciate that.
Man, that's the investment we're talking about. That's the seeds that we're planting, man. You know, Biggs, his brother was tight with me, man. You know what I mean? And there's no time, anytime I see you, I always see him. And I see what he put in me. You know what I mean? That love and that goodness to take care of the community. You know, so throughout this thing that we're doing tonight, I'm gonna remember things and throw things out there because I believe it's needed right now. So we're gonna go on to question number 2. And again, y'all answer these how y'all want to answer them. Gun violence prevention often requires coordination across multiple organizations, government agencies, and communities. Can you share an example of how collaboration has been critical to your work, and what barriers, if any, still exist?
I can start with me and you. Anytime that things are going on, like if we have a participant that might move to the Greater Morrow Valley, we're one of the first people we call, Jalal, also as well. And we have like, it's really like a lot of these brothers I've known before there was a Cure East or a Cure West or a Cure South. So we've really been communicating for years through sports, through activities and things of that sort. So I try to really take the value of those relationships to still be able to continue on with the work we're doing now. I mean, it's detrimental to not unite. Because at one point it seemed like it was this group and it's that group. No, we're all the same people trying to do the same thing. So that's where kind of like, you know, grants and who's who goes out the window. We're trying to save each other's lives, right? We have to be the light in these children. We have to lead by an example. I mean, I take pride in what I do. You know, when I get a shout out from a parent or a pat on the back or whatever the case may be, this is a very thankless job, right? We do this every single day, right? And it's not no, hey, you're doing a great job. I mean, people take for granted what, like this brother said, it's Sunday to Sunday. There is no off days, right? So we're the first on the line and the last one to leave. You know, I'm just proud to do it with a lot of people I love. My brother Rick, I've known since kindergarten. John Parker, 30-something years. Lowe, 20-something years. These two brothers, I've known him before he was born, right? So it's just the camaraderie itself that shows the magnitude of what we're really doing.
I think acting as the part of the countywide conveners, I think I have a lot to say here, so I'll try to keep it short. I think collective impact is the most important thing that we can do. As he was saying, you know, some of these people have been working with each other for years. How long you been doing it, Lee?
Close to 25.
25 years. You know, I'm 34, so that's saying something. Listen, when I got to this space and I was tasked with, you know, helping facilitate a meeting where we bring everybody together and say, all right, get them all to work together, facilitate plans, make sure that there's no hostility. And we were dealing with a system that traditionally just underserved the people who were serving the community. You had you had organizations in survival mode trying to help people in survival mode. And then we were going to say, all right, let's bring them all together and expect no problems, expect no hurdles or anything. But what this region was able to show is I think we initially had it on a bi-weekly basis, but consistently they came together and said, no, the community is more important. Consistently they came together, even whenever everybody was salaries and jobs were on the line. And thank you, DHS, and I see you, Nick, back there, for helping us advocate for keeping people jobs, here and stable. Even when it was on the line, they still came to these meetings and said, no, we have work to do. And so collective impact, where we have everybody at the table, but the right information. And thank you again, DHS and the city of Pittsburgh, for helping us have that data information, that cultural context to it. So when we look at these homicide numbers, we know what to do about it. But again, I'll keep going. Let me get off my soapbox here. Being able to put faces to the work, to be able to put organizations and names saying they've been doing it for years. They have the people who've been in the streets. They know generations of families, and they've been there every step of the way. And to help guide that mission, to help push that needle for the death gap, it is so important, and that's something that can't stop.
So specifically for Cure Violence East, we service Penn Hills, East Hills, Wilkinsburg, and Homewood communities. So we're partially in the city, partially out. So we have a lot of our communities that overlap with REACH. And so what that means is that we coordinate with them when incidents occur, and we have open communication that way. And then as the quarterback, it is my responsibility to do convening and things of that nature. So Miss Sarah from Care Connections for Youth back there is an amazing partner of our coalition, and we collaborate to support victims of violence and things of that nature. So in very diverse ways, everybody in this room can help and support, and you're all important to this violence prevention ecosystem.
Well, I think my lens starts with just looking around this room right now. How do we coordinate? We're looking at it, we're experiencing it, we're talking about it, we're actually walking the walk that we talk, right? We know each other, we're getting to know each other on a level that it's not just professional, it's personal, right? And that is important. That is important to know and trust the people that you're working with, that you're collaborating with, that you're sending people to go get resources and support. That's a big one. The closest mentee I've ever had in my life, I lost him to gun violence. I say I as if everybody didn't lose him, but it was something that hit home for me. I worked with this young man endless nights trying to align him with resources and opportunities. How many of those emails bounced back? How many of those phone calls went unanswered? How many of those voicemails were never returned, right? And this was a human being in my hands that I felt responsible for. So I kept pushing forward. Okay, if they're not answering, the next one's going to answer, the next one's going to answer, the next one's going to answer. It ended with, he sent me an email about wanting a job opportunity, me reaching out to him via text message and saying, hey, I just talked with somebody, we might have something for you. And that night he lost his life. He was in transitional housing that took 2 years to be able to get him in. He was going to CCAC, which took about 1.5 years to get him into. He was doing everything that the world told him to do. A lack of coordination allowed for this young man to slip through gaps, right? So as I stand here in front of you, as I sit here in front of all of you, it's different now. We're on a different timeline. That was the timeline when it was still the county and city don't work together. This entity doesn't work with that entity. We don't do this. We don't. I feel like we're at the point now where those people just aren't at the table anymore, right? Where we are working with those that are committed, that show up, and don't just show up as a warm person sitting in that seat. That's not what we need, right? Sometimes I feel like I've been to meetings where, I don't know if you all remember during COVID, but during NBA games, they put the fake people in all the seats so it looked like the stadium was full, right? I've been on panels where I'm sitting in front of a room where I would have got more attention from cardboard cutouts. Right, but then you turn around and you're like, wow, this entity is saying they're doing a lot of work in the community, yet every time I drive by, I don't see a lot of work getting done. That's not this room. That's not this space. That's not this initiative. So some of us, right, I'm 42, so I'm on the younger end. I like to keep myself on the younger. I'll be saying that for the next 30 years. I stand on your shoulders. I stand on the shoulders of those that's been doing it for 25 years, that's been in the trenches for a long time, right? Those of you that have been doing this, your coordination on the ground, hearing it on the ground, and feeding that up the chain, whether that's doing homicide and shooting reviews, doing trainings, During text messages, conversations, you're saving lives by sending a text message, right? Who thought we would be in a world where we could reach out to somebody via text message and save a life? I'm glad we are. And it's a pleasure and it's an honor to be able to sit up here to do this work with you. And that's the thing that I think we did the best with our coordination is we put our egos in our pockets. We humbled ourselves and we got to the place where Lee's shouting out Leon, who's shouting Lee right back out, right? That's humble. We approach this with humbleness, with gratitude, with empathy, and with a trauma-informed approach, and we're going to continue to save lives.
So for me, it's kind of simple. Like I'm involved, and I've been involved with numerous of people in this room. And I'll go like as simple as Rev. I used to work for them down in Western Pennsylvania as a chaplain. So when I say I'm involved with the people that do the work, I'm actually involved with the people that do the work. Swan, like we've been at this for 30 years. Me and Lo, we've been at this for 30 years. Pine, Tamisha, like Rev, like we've been doing this thing for a long, long time. And when you say, what do you do? What do you expect? These are the people that do the work. These are the people that we expect to help us do the work. And we're like, when he asked a question about the relationships, the relationships is the most key thing you can have when you're doing this work. Me and Lee been at this for 50 years. I didn't mean to tell our age, but
Right. Well, there's a lot of years we did it for free.
yeah, because we've been doing this thing for a long, long time. Little stuff like when me and Rev is downtown and we engaging with the youth and they see me and him talking and a little girl's about to cuss. They turn around and see me and him. She said, we apologize, sir. That's a big thing to us. That's a humongous thing to us. Those are the things, I'm gonna keep going back to the things people don't see. And that's what we do out here.
I just want to add one thing too. With this funding, it is really important that we continue our momentum and continue our collaboration. So if we break that up or slash what we have happening, that's going to be detrimental to what we've built already.
And so, you know, when he mentioned these names, Rev Cornell, Twan, you know, we always on the phone with each other talking about something that's going on. Because we know that what the past 10 years has been so much transient family movement throughout the county, in and out the city and back and forth. And so the collaboration has been key, you know, for us to really be on top of things before they happen. You know, we're in the intervention movement, but we're trying to get to the prevention movement. You know what I mean? That's what we're really working on, is prevention. You know, I got my uncle right here, man. He's the one that brought me to the first, you know, meeting, you know, and he you know, always mess with you. You got the one leg, but you still hopping around. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we mess around like that, but that just shows his commitment to the work. No matter what's going on, he's still going to show up and show out. You know, we're appreciative of some of our young brothers that have come into this movement. We're still smiling. A big movement of mental health that we've been pushing and fighting for a long time. You know, and for you to come into that space as a young man and say, you know, this is what I'm offering, this is what I'm going to do. We appreciate you. You know, because again, a lot of times we do this work and we won't get our flowers, right? But I'm gonna make sure every time I see you, I'm gonna smile you up and make sure love is love. You know. So for those of you who don't know, before we get to the last question, a lot of us have lived experience, right? So Brother Lee ain't always been this handsome and this cool. You know, I was in the streets a little bit, you know what I mean? And I see good brother Reverend Grayson right now, one of our elders who have been holding it down for a long time, and somebody that we all can go to when we need some advice or just some love in general. And so I appreciate that and the ways that you guys have showed up for us. And Reverend Eileen, you already know you always sharp, dressed to the nines. We try to keep up, but
Is
you
that
know.
all? Is that all I got?
No. Everybody in here know what you do. You're a pioneer. But I just love the way you put that on. So we're gonna get to question number 3. We've lost a lot of people in this work, right? I know I've lost a couple cats. We've all lost somebody that we love. Even the folks that do this work, we can never forget about them. And so this question is going to touch y'all a little bit. And I just want y'all, again, from the heart, whatever you feel, just put it out there, because this is a very important question. Given the risks and emotional toll of working in gun violence prevention, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you motivated to continue this work? And what kind of support do you think y'all all need to continue this work?
Wow, that's deep. Just to piggyback on what you said as far as the loss, one of our violence interrupters, Carlos Stanford, was killed last year, which really affected us all. Luckily, with leadership that we have, we were allowed to mourn. A lot of times people want you to just jump back in like you're not a person, because a lot of times we're expected to just, deal with all this trauma, deal with these deaths, these mothers and fathers crying. Several friends of mine's sons were murdered, right? I was holding one of mine up crying with him, and it's a lot, but we try to prevent the next loss, right? That's what motivates me. Like I said before, I'm born and raised in Bell Super, day one. Left the hospital in Martin Shore, moved to 131 Industry Street. That's all I know, right? So when I speak to our team, I let them know that we're doing something special. We're saving people's lives. These are like friends of mine's family members, my family, my friends. So Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were dead before they were 40. I'm 48, right? So who's going to pick up the legacy? Who's going to continue the mission? This is a very serious thing. I know sometimes my team gets like, dang, why is he going so hard? Because I take it seriously, right? The most important thing you can do is preserve someone's life. I don't see anything more important than that. I want to commend everybody in the room and on the panel for doing that so passionately. I've had passionate conversations with these brothers over here, with this brother right here, with you, past, present, and future, right? So it's just to continue a legacy that needs to flourish, I just don't see anything more important than that.
Man, that was a hard question. So when I left Special Victims Unit, I think you could consider burnt out. As major crimes for Pittsburgh, I got tired of seeing people who look like me, who I wish they just had a chance to talk to me before they were talking to me, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I got tired of so many faces, so many names, so many people in this community they wanted help. They wanted change. They wanted their family members to be able to thrive. And I felt like being at that side of the stream was too late. So I came to this space, one thing, and I was getting out of politics, but I came to this space and I saw something that I truly actually didn't know about. I didn't know that the community was resilient. I didn't know that the community was working already, that they've been doing it for years, that they've been in the streets, that they're having those conversations that I couldn't have. And it was a reignition, if you will, a saying that like, no, there are people who will love this community today. They're going to love it tomorrow. They're going to be here. They're going to put their lives on the line. They miss time at home. They're out here and they do this work. And so for me, the biggest motivation to be in this space was because of what you guys do every day. I won't sit here and say I am not a boots on the ground. I coordinate, I make phone calls, I get to talk to Rev and Rihanna and the brother on the end, and I have the meetings, but they're in these people's homes. They're talking to them, they're on the phone. When I left being on the negotiator squad, I can't make those phone calls anymore. And so I can tell you firsthand, I know what it's like to be burnt out. I can tell you firsthand what it's like to talk to somebody one day, then the next day they're not there anymore. I believe that you guys, you boots on the ground, are some of the most underrepresented first responders in America, possibly the world. You don't get the credit that you deserve. And so part of this work is to give them that credit that they deserve, to let the world know that there's people out here who are doing that work. You know, we have those first responder holidays, and I'm not taking anything away from law enforcement, from EMS to doctors, anything, but collective impact, community approach, Cure, Reach. There's so many others out there that do this. Say it, I'll probably get in trouble for it. Maybe it's because it's the way that we look that we don't get the credit. Maybe it's because how they dress or how they talk, or maybe because they sound too much like the victims or the actors, I'm not sure. However, the system needs to reapproach how we navigate our communities, how we provide help, and it starts at collective impact. It starts at community-led collective impact. We also can't have systems coming in and telling us how to fix ourselves. We can't have that. However, we have systems now that are saying like, no, let's lock arms with you. We'll provide the resources, but we want to hear from you. The same thing, and Beth, I appreciate you even asking me to be on this panel, but having this space for them. We have to be able to provide a voice and the resources, and not just 5 years. Not just 5 years. It has to continue on, but credibility first. I did not figure out how to do this job. People like Lee, I think it was day 2, you said, whatever you need. You have in your office downtown, you said, whatever you need, let me know. I'll teach you whatever you got to do. And there's so many others. Samara Collier, she's not in the room, but she did. Neighborhood Resilience Project even gave me the option. Rev, I see you over there too. Rev, like so many people here. I was a stranger to this space, but y'all are not. And I think I'm blessed with being able to see the hard work that y'all put in every day, but you're still underrepresented. You're still not taken serious. Let me get off my soapbox, but I take y'all serious, and so I do this work. Thank you.
So initially for me, violence prevention sort of fell into my lap after returning back here from school. I'm originally from Pittsburgh. I just realized, I wanted to get involved with the health department and just apply for a job. But while working there and then transferring over to Cure and being an outreach worker and then working up to being the quarterback for Cure Violence East, it's been right place, right time every time. So just a little brief background. I am a child of an incarcerated parent. So that is sort of what has enlightened me to sort of be in this role. And I think that seeing how my father and just hearing his stories and how he got to where he has, there's been so many times that he could have had intervention that could have helped and supported him. And so as an outreach worker, I was able to do that and help support the people that I was serving. And now as a quarterback, I've opened up the outreach that we have. We provide like diapers, menstrual products, emergency contraceptive, Narcan, because these are a lot of the things that the people in the communities that we serve are missing. And that's something that pushes me. My team pushes me. It's just a beautiful mosaic, beautiful, beautiful people, such like bright personalities, and even on their hard days, they just want to help and work and support each other. I think that for support, I think that we need emotional support. We need political support and policy level change. Financial support always helps. And I think that jobs that pay well, I think that's something that I see my team struggling with so much. And I think that that financial burden definitely implicates and hurts like how they can show up for the community, and they have chronic fatigue. We're now at 2 years of being in our positions, and I can just see like almost like the light and the brightness from them dimming just because of how hard this work can be for them.
So I want to take you on a quick emotional journey, which is going to be much like how it feels after the loss of somebody, right? I'm going to start with anger. My anger starts with, if we would take the hot spots that Nick put up for us and overlaid food insecurities, and we overlaid underfunding of education, right? We overlaid lack of jobs, disinvestment. You wouldn't know which map you were looking at it because they would all look exactly the same. All of those hot spots are underinvested, right? Job opportunities lost, especially down through the Mon Valley. I'm the son of a guy who lost his job at Menneson Steel Mill, and we plunged into poverty that has lasted until, I'll let you know.
Wow.
Because that disinvestment impacts everybody from cradle to the grave, from prenatal to the grave, right? If you don't have access to education, if you don't have access to healthcare, right? And we see what might be coming down the tracks, people losing SNAP benefits, people losing Medicaid, right? Where are we going to be at then? So I start with anger, driving through our communities and seeing the blight, right? Seeing the brokenness, right? But then my next step, I get into sadness, right? I get sad because of the people that we lost, right? Every life matters. No explanation. Every life matters, right? Straight up. I'm a man of faith. Every life matters. So every life that we lose is another precious life that is gone from this earth forever. So I move into this space of sadness, right? But sadness can sometimes be crippling. It can keep you from moving forward. It can keep you in that space of depression, of anger, right? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward. So my last journey on my emotional journey is hope. Because in all of those same communities, go walk down the sidewalk and talk with somebody. They're going to be pleasant. They're going to say, hey, you need some help? Can I show you where to go? In the places where some people wouldn't drive down the street, right? Because they have this notion in their mind of what violence looks like. They have this notion in their mind about what a violent actor looks like. There's a number of times that we're on homicide and shooting reviews where we call out communities that ain't going to be no outreach workers there, and they're at the table all the time, right? Because that's not what violence looks like. Well, I can tell you all the young men that I've lost in my life, they didn't look like violence. Their life didn't look like violence. It didn't look like what we have from our media, from music, from TV, what they portray to us of what violence looks like, which makes us sometimes run into a burning building that's not even on fire because we're targeting the wrong situation. How many times have you all heard the youth are the problem? That's nonstop. Every kid has been to blame for the last 50 generations, generation after generation after. It's those kids, it's those kids, it's those kids, right? The data shows otherwise. It shows that it's not the kids. But do we give the kids a break for that? Because they are the next generation. They're the ones to replace us. They're the next step up, right? I don't know about all of you, but I don't plan on doing this forever. I can't do this forever, right? But what is our legacy going to look like here in the county? I hope it's the legacy of what I just laid out, that we went from anger to maybe a little bit of sadness to straight up hope and prosperity, to know that no matter what happens in Washington, D.C., no matter what happens in Harrisburg, no matter what happens with any person, this is bigger than a person. This is bigger than an office. This is bigger than a seat. And if we don't ingrain this into the work that we do every day, we're going to lose it when somebody loses that seat. So we have to go above and beyond this just being, hey, this was funded here, and as soon as that funding's out, we don't know what that, it has to be bigger than that. And so our commitment to investment, remember, an investment has a return. We're not asking you to give us money. We're asking you to invest into opportunities and then wait and see what the outcomes are, because you'll be surprised.
I don't know how I follow that up, but I'll try. So for me, it's kind of simple. Like yesterday, I did a speech. I was a guest speaker for eight women who was recently released from incarceration. And when I did that speech, I told my story. And for me, it's just a simple thank you. It's not about nothing else for me, but to see somebody benefit from what I either been through or what I know. When I did my speech, the ladies and the ladies' families came up to me and said, thank you. That meant more to me than anything. $1, whatever, a seat, whatever. So there was a gentleman in the audience, did 54 years for a crime he never committed. He came up to me, gave me a hug with tears and said, "How did you do it?" And when I told him how I done it, his last words was, "Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. That's why I do it."
Man, listen. Awesome words, wise words being spoken. We have to thank PCCD as well, because they put the money up and had the, the understanding of what we needed to make this happen. My good brother Nick back there, me and him have traveled and shown this whole stat thing, and but Nick, you've been there from day one, man, and I don't know if people understand the hours you put in, the late nights that you put in to make a lot of this stuff come to fruition. You know what I mean? We joined at the hip forever, my brother, because you put the work in. And so I appreciate you and DHS for the work they put in. My good sister Liz back there. Out of sight, out of mind. I hate to say that, but my heart is with him. Reg too, Reg from day one. But thank you. If people don't, can you put your hand up, please? Can you? Yeah, you. Yeah, you. I know, but he knows what I'm talking about. But I caught my eye. So this sister put a lot of work in, poured into me, and I'm definitely appreciative of what you've done and your legacy. And so I'm gonna carry that, with me. Thank you. Neighborhood resilience. Y'all put the work in too. And I know it was hectic in the beginning, man, but I think we reaching a little bit smooth sailing now, a little bit. We coming out of, sometimes you gotta go through those growing pains. But y'all stuck and stayed, man. So we appreciate that, and the work Father Paul, and of course the whole staff who kept it together, man. And I know when you first came on, it was kind of like, wow, it was a lot. But you're still here. A lot of people would have given up under the pressure that you had. So I appreciate you. Once again, Beth, thanks for putting this together. This has been very impactful, and we haven't seen as many people that do the work in one room at the same time in a long time. And so we appreciate Ceasefire and the work you've been doing, because when you came on, I guess you was kind of new to it, but you took it on and stuck and stayed. So give it up for Sister Beth if y'all don't know who she is. Thank you so much.
You guys can hang. You did such an amazing job.
Drinks on me.
I have words to read, words to share, but just, geez, thank you. This, to say the thing that, many of us in this room, we keep showing up in these meetings, we keep talking, right? And we always leave those meetings saying, all right, I don't want to do another meeting where we're just talking. Where's the action? This is where the action happens and where real change happens. So thank you. Thank you all. Quentin, thank you especially for letting me toss you right into that group. It was perfect. It was perfect. You guys can hang. You guys can go back to your seats. You can take a minute and get some food. But thank you. Sincerely, thank you. So it's such an easy follow-up for me to say the thing. We need to not just secure the funding, we need to expand the funding. And you heard exactly why. We can't afford to go back. We can't afford to go back. These individuals that show up every day, they're not going back. They deserve the funding. They deserve the additional support. So let's be clear, violence is not inevitable. It is preventable. We know that. And when we invest in the right strategies, we realize that. CBI programs are proven to reduce shootings by 30 to 60% in the neighborhoods where they're implemented. That's not theory, it's what's happening in places like Chester, Philadelphia, Erie, and Pittsburgh, and all areas in between. But those successes only go as far as the funding allows. Right now, programs are stretching limited dollars to cover growing needs, more so than ever. Many communities still don't have access to these life-saving interventions. That's why tonight's ask is simple but urgent. We're calling on our state lawmakers to not only renew CBI funding in this year's budget, but to increase it. Because if we want fewer funerals and safer streets, this is how we get there. So the report Ceasefire PA released earlier this year, Invest More to Save More, I'll make sure everybody receives that as a follow-up. This shows that Pennsylvania's modest investment in CBI is already saving lives and dollars. Every dollar spent on CBI program pays off in reduced emergency response, hospital costs, incarceration, and most importantly, human suffering. State funding for these programs has been inconsistent, often one-time grants with little room for growth or long-term planning. That kind of instability puts communities at risk. So here's what we need to do. Number one, protect the existing funding at minimum. We must preserve the current investment in CBI in the state budget. Increase funding, number two, to meet the need. The data makes it clear where we invest more, we save more, lives and money. And number three, ensure multi-year stable funding streams so community-based organizations can plan, hire, train, and grow their work over time and not just survive year to year. That's the message that we really need to bring beyond this space, beyond our spaces, our communities. We need to help others understand the power behind this. Those that live outside of the immediate region, the city, those individuals are coming into the city. They're, the community violence intervention does benefit them. We need to help them understand the personal stories and connect those personal stories to this funding. So thank you again, Representative Powell, for signing on to support the Secure and Expand Violence Prevention Funding. You and many of your colleagues in Allegheny County have signed on to that, and for that we're grateful. For those that I have not heard from, I may call you tomorrow and have you give them a little nudge. So we know what works. We just need to fund it at the scale of the problem. So whether you're a legislator, an advocate, a neighbor, this is your moment to act. We can't afford to lose ground. We can't afford to let lives hang in the balance while we debate whether prevention is worth it or not. We know it is. So let's secure and expand CBI funding in this year's state budget and build a safer, stronger Pennsylvania for all of us. Let's talk about how we do that. So I want to invite my friend, Reverend Eileen Smith, back up to have some calls to action. I'd like for everybody to think about how we can indeed bring this message back to our communities. This is my job. Put me to work. Tell me how we can have these conversations in your communities and make these specific asks. So, Rev.
Thank you, Amazing Bev. We have nicknames for each other. This has been phenomenal. I've been in public health, trauma as a nurse, pastor. I've seen way too much death and gun violence and homicides due to gun violence, buried too many. And I get tired of it. Probably the most impactful thing that keeps me from retiring are the memories of what I have seen and what my team has seen and what they go through every single day, and that I have to lift up their arms a lot to keep them going. But it's very difficult. You all know that, and whatever they're getting paid can never be compensation enough. So we can never just stop at a dollar amount or whatever they get should be doubled and tripled for risking their lives every day. I even bought my team body armor. They won't even wear it. They risk their lives every day because if they wore it, they would be offs, according to the community. Right, Rick? Exactly. So, I've been in this business a long time, violence and injury prevention consultant once I left out of hospital work and got into public health. And probably the worst thing that I've seen was the Wilkinsburg mass shooting. And my dear friend, Reverend Trent, had those funerals at his church. I helped him to officiate that. And what stays in my mind is the young pregnant woman whose little baby they had to take out of her womb, and this baby was wrapped in swaddling clothes and placed in her arms. And my daughter, who's a mental health therapist, told me, "Mother, don't look at that." Of course I did. But this is why people ask me, why you getting old? Not Emma. When you going to retire? I've already retired about 3 times in my career, different jobs. So, and I feel that I need to hang in there because of this, because of each and every one of you whose lives can be snuffed out, no matter where we are, by gun violence. And so we need to do something about it and continue to do that. And we need to take action as a community, as a village. So what I'm going to talk about is what you can do, what we can do. I know what I'm going to do, but what are you going to do to stop this thing? Don't be complacent and sit back and let us and others take the lead, because we get tired. So it's up to the whole community to be leaders in this struggle. So number 1, sign the petition to fund community violence intervention. I know it's going around on email. I think I've probably signed it a few times.
Yeah, good.
But just make sure that you sign it, and it doesn't take long at all. It's very simple. Go to www.ceasefirep.org if you haven't received it on our mailing list and others. Community partners and leaders. There is also a petition or a QR code over there. Beth will tell you more about that. Do it. Number 2, call your state lawmakers. Who are the lawmakers in here? They should be packed. God bless you, Pastor Grace. So good to see you, sir. Yes, back at you. Should be packed with them. So they're not here, so we're going to find them. We're going to reach out to them. We're going to call them and let them know you support this thing. You support sustained CBI funding, and ask them, step up, quit being a politician for a minute and do what's right, and be a champion for this investment. And Beth can also tell you how to locate your lawmakers and make those calls. Number 3, 5 friends. Who has 5 friends or family members? 5 friends or family members. That's all we're asking, wherever you are, wherever they are, okay, in Pennsylvania. Ask them to sign, call, and share to another 5 people that they may know. And before you know, we have a movement going on, okay? And one conversation at a time can turn into a movement. Number 4, connect with CBI programs in your community. Look around you. There's a lot of agencies represented here, including South Pittsburgh Coalition Peace, ACTS, Achieving Change through Transitional Employment Services are here. They are also gun violence prevention agents. Wherever they are, sign up sheet, take a look at it. You know where they're at, and join us in this movement. Find out what organizations are doing the work in the county or the city. Ask us, what do you need? You see our guys out on the street, hand them a pop or a bottle of water, or just give them a hug or a pat on the back. They're out there regardless of if it's snowing, if it's raining. Sometimes I have to call Rick and Larry. I'm like, you know me, I'm the mother of the group. Okay, not their boss, I'm their mother. Where's the guys? Are they warm? Are they inside? You know, take them and get some hot chocolate, or just go in the office, which we're thankful, Nick, to finally have an office. We didn't have an office before, and they had nowhere to go except sitting in their cars. So now they have a nice warm office to go to, thanks to that county grant. And then June is Wear Orange all month long, National Gun Violence Awareness Month. And there's lots of events being organized all month long to bring awareness and healing to communities across the greater Pittsburgh region. And find out what organizations, call Ceasefire, call Moms Demand Action, call us, and because we're going to be involved all month long. See what you can do, volunteer, supplies, social media support, or simply someone to amplify your voice. And number 5, stay informed and keep showing up. Gun violence prevention is not a one-night event. It's a lifelong commitment. I know, I've been out here a long, long time. It's a commitment to building peace. Join ceasefire's mailing list and social media. Follow local CBI groups and keep pushing for long-term change. Every action matters. We must make a difference in order to save lives. But you know what? It does take a village. God bless each and every one of you.
It's the end of the program. We're all getting a little bit sleepy. I need my powerhouse to come up and get us right on. Okay. I need my powerhouse team over here in the corner, Reverend Cornell and Darnell, if you both wouldn't mind coming up. I depend on both of these individuals to give us some powerful words of encouragement and followed directly by, let's get to work. They can make you have that second, third, fourth wind. And I'm really grateful. So tell them who you are. And afterwards, Mr. Darnell. And then I'll just close us out afterwards, but thank you.
Thank you.
You don't need that, but here it is.
What's up, everybody?
All right.
What's up? What's up, everybody? Peace,
All right.
everybody. So, listen, just recap is super quick. Listen, Dr. Andrew, look, I ain't going after you ever. Ever. I said, that boy, he need to write a book. History collaboration. City of Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, it's never been at this level. I'm just recapping. And I'm speaking facts because I've been around it. Am I right, Rev? Never been at this level right here. So let's celebrate these things.
Right.
Let's celebrate this. Listen, you can keep clapping. We've never talked about issues across the county, but now we're doing it, right? Let's celebrate these things, right? Come on, let's celebrate these things. We've never talked about resources, but we're talking about resources across the county. We're talking about strategies. I talked about one time we went to a place where all of us were working at, and you couldn't even tell who was in the organization because we're all unified. Let's celebrate these things, right? We talk about different strategies. We talk about the strategies that are going to work best and utilize all of our resources when we need to tap into Still Smiling, whatever it is. We work together as a village. You know what I mean? And we pull these things together. Let's celebrate, right? Through the history of violence prevention in the city of Pittsburgh, there's never been a level of respect from Pittsburgh law enforcement. There's a level of respect. They'll come to my office and say, yo, are the outreach workers going to be there? Listen, that's huge, and let's celebrate. That just shows that God's still in American working business. I'm just being honest with you on that one. So if we talk about employment opportunities, we talk about, how do we develop, and help change people's reputations and things like that and give them all this type of stuff. We talked about the historical piece that has never been done before. And it's funny, when I was sitting over there, there was an old song that I'm not going to sing it that my sister-in-law sang the thing said, and they said, can't let nobody turn me around. Turn me around. Like there means that we can't let any situation or government, whatever it is, whatever situation that's trying to stop the movements from going where it's supposed to go. You hear what I'm saying? Y'all don't hear me. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah. We can't let anybody stop us from moving because people's lives are on the line. And historically, understand this, the people have, the reason that these numbers are down is because we have the people that a lot of times people understand, a lot of the outreach workers used to be the ones who used to spread the disease. Come on, let's be honest. Can I be honest, Brian? Can I be honest? These are the ones who know the disease and know how to heal it, which is why they're on the front lines. Slick, you know what I'm talking about. Which is why they're on the front lines saying, I know how to help you be free, and I'm going to walk with you to help you be free. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So listen to this. I'm going to end it on this right here. I talked about can't let nobody turn me around, but when I was sitting there thinking about the song that popped in my mind, my dear brother's phone ran off. And I don't know if you know what the song was. It said, ain't no stopping us now. That's the song that came on because ain't no stopping us now. Because we're on the move, y'all. Right. We can't let nobody turn us around from the vision of the geniuses that are in this room. And this is just a smidgen, as Grandma would say, of the geniuses that we're representing right here. And not even across just Pittsburgh, but across the country right now. We're all fighting for this thing. And there's a strategic strategy that the people don't realize to be able to stop this thing because people are being free. People are being free and people aren't going to jail like they were going to jail and things like that. And when that type of stuff happens, there's a business called prison. There's a business called prison, and people are like, we're not making the money right there. So people are like, let's strip what's helping them, but we're not going to, come on, ain't no stopping us now. Ain't no stopping us now because we got the soldiers, we got the people. And I'm going to tell you, go to your places of faith, go to grandma, go and get those people that I'm talking about if they're 18 and up, get them to sign that paper right there. And don't get no 5, give me 50. Come on, somebody. Give me 50. This ain't no, I'm going to be like, my man, lock the door. Y'all heard him say, listen, let's do this, man, because understanding this, I realized that there's a level of connection that I have to the street, but I realized there's another level that these brothers and these sisters had that I can't get to. There's a level that they have that the police can't get to, but on the strength of their relationships, somebody say relationships. They're able to stop a lot of things that we don't see on TV. People are like, well, why is this? You don't realize that somebody should have died last night. But that violence interrupter was able to stop that situation right there. So let's continue. Ain't no stopping us now. God bless you. Let's go.
Well, Cornell said it all, so I don't have to say much more, right? No, it's one of the things when Cornell talked about ain't no stopping us now, one of the things that concerns me most is what can stop us is us, ourselves. Most of the time, I'm always worried about people's health. I'm always worried about people's mental health, physical health. That's the key thing, your self-care, your wellness. A lot of times when I think about the CBI, I think about some funds need to go to people that's helping. How funds need to go to people to care for themselves. A lot of us in this room are not caring for ourselves the way we should be caring for ourselves. We don't have the funds to care for ourselves the way we care. We don't have the time to care for ourselves the way we need to care for ourselves. So I often ask people, who is caring for you? How are you being cared for? What does caring for yourself look like? What does that look like? So how do I not get stopped? You know, so I had to think about that. For most of you who are in this room, don't know I'm standing here today because of God. I'm standing here today not looking like what I've been through. 8 years, I've been through two strokes in 8 years. In the building, 2 strokes, but I'm here, standing here today because, and I tell people all the time, I don't look like what I've been through, but I'm very serious when I'm talking about how you take care of yourself, because I know when I'm talking. I've been on my back twice on the bed and for days, and I've been there. I've been in a place where I was stopping myself because I wasn't taking care of myself. So we talk about ain't no stopping us now. We can't stop ourselves, but it's only us who's gonna stop ourselves. So I'm always saying, what are we gonna do to take care of ourselves? What are we doing to take care of ourselves? This self-care is so important. Julia and I talk about this all the time. This is a lot where we're trying to move, even with Center for Victims and the Healing Rivers Project. This self-care and wellness is so important because you will be stopped. You will be stopped. If you don't take care of yourself, you find yourself stuck in that vicarious trauma, stuck in this place of trying to push and push and push, and trying to forget about yourself, you will be stuck. And so that's so important. I say to people, you have to take care of yourself. And at the end of the day, when you don't take care of yourself, you're a hurting person. And we know that only hurt people hurt people. Hurt people don't heal people. Hurt people hurt people. Healed people heal people. You have to be healed. If you're healing. If you're a healed person, you'll heal somebody with just your presence. You don't have to say a word. So a lot of times when I'm in an HRP, a lot of people come to the Healing Rivers and say, Darnell, what can we do for the community? What can we do for these kids? I don't want you to do nothing. I want you to be something for them. Don't do nothing for them. You need to be something for them. Sometimes your being is enough to change the world. Your being is enough to change the person in front of you. I've gone to schools, and several times it's happened just this year, and I'm talking, we're going around doing things, responding to crisis interventions and stuff like that. And so I would talk to some young people. And I remember a couple of times, this really strikes me the most. This is not a pat on my back. This is really about me taking care of myself in a healing space. And so many times, several times this year alone, there's young people that came to me and said, "Who are you?" And they would ask, "Are you a preacher? Are you a minister?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I am. But you just carry yourself so much different than a lot of people we meet." And it wasn't about me doing something special, it was the energy that I would bring to a room. You could set a room on fire if you have the right energy, if you are the right being. And so that's what I'm always talking about, how are you being? So being the person that you need to be, but that being happens with your healing. And if you're not a healed person, you won't heal people. If you're not a helped person, you won't help people. You'll only hurt people. You hurt people in ways that you don't even know. You know, if you're hurting, you won't even know that you're talking to people wrong ways. You won't even know that you're not paying attention to what people are saying. You won't even know that you're not even comprehending what someone is saying to you. Because your hurt blocks all of those things to happen. Your hurt blocks all the things to happen to help other people. And so that's why it's so important for me to say to you today, get out there and heal. Before you move, you got to heal. Before you move, you got to know that you're in the right space. The word of God says, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. It's not talking about a lot of people. It's not talking about there's a few people. He said the laborers, and laborers is talking about people that are well, people that are the right people that are well-trained, well-organized, well-skilled, and they're well. People that are well people. You know, that's what we're talking about when we talk about labor. So we don't just need people in place. We need laborers. We need real people that's ready to go, ready to move. Our communities need you. Our communities need you well. Our communities need you healed. And whatever that looks like, we have to all find what is our space to heal? What is the place for us? For me, I say God is the foundation of me standing here today. That's the bottom line. I can say all day, oh yes, I do yoga, I do this, I do that, go jogging and all the modalities that we talk about. But the bottom line, my foundation is God. That's the bottom line. That's my foundation. And so he is the reason why I'm here today. When I say I stay stuck and connected to him so that I can continue to heal. Because in my heart, I do believe he's the depth of healing. From the top to the bottom, he's the depth of healing. So that's my foundation and how I heal. And whatever it is that you know is your foundation, whatever you believe, whatever you would lock into that thing so you can be a healer. So you're not just helping or you're not just doing stuff, you're being something to people. You're being something to the community. And so I really would even push for the CDI, even funding to pushing more money towards organizations who help people heal, who help people to that place where they can be something to the community and make the community better. We'll make the community better by being better beings. All right? So thank you all. Y'all keep pushing and keep healing.
All right, so what we learned is you don't have to be a policymaker or a program leader to make a difference. You just have to care enough to act. You have to ask what is needed and to keep showing up. Together, we can help save lives, heal communities, and build a safer Pennsylvania for everyone. So thank you again for a really long day for many of you. It's greatly appreciated. Please sit in your chairs for 5 more seconds so Rico can get a group picture, if you don't mind, and then take food to go. And I'll see you guys back. I think Darnell set us up for the next group gathering where we talk about ways to heal and bring more community in for that. So thanks, Rico.
So I need everybody on that side of the blue pole to come over and sit in these empty chairs over here, please. And everybody in the back row, if you don't mind standing, that way we can see you and block the windows. Just the back row is staying, everybody else can sit.
He's the photographer. Get in here. Okay. That's good.
Slide down that way. I guess we're over there now. Are we moving now?
Where's she at?
AGH. Don't believe, don't get me lying. Yeah, it's AGH. No, this is garbage. I got you.
I'm in here. Yeah, you right there. You're in the shot. Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody.
Make sure we see everybody. Okay, don't move. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. I gotta grab the phone real quick. Rico, you better be happy with the pin, bro. I ain't playing. Right, man. This is gonna be the most important photo I take all day. Ready? Yep, got everybody perfect. All right, we got one more, hold on one second. So we need, I'm gonna do a video clip, all right? And I'm gonna say 1, 2, and point at you, and then you're gonna say,
What?
ceasefire.
All right, all right.
Cool.
How do we package that?
So when I say 1, 2, and point at you, then everybody say ceasefire.
All right, man.
All right, cool, ready? All right, 1 second, and 1, 2.
Ceasefire!
Okay, we gotta say that one more time.
Oh.
A little oomph.
Oh,
A little oomph. Like, you know, for the diaphragm, like.
We saying it on three. We saying it.
No, when I point at you.
Any point.
Yeah, when I say 3, it's gonna take too close. Okay. All right, here we go, and 1, 2.
Ceasefire! Thank you all.
Yes.